I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
So he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG. I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Gonna be joined by an almost full panel again. The great addition of Gary, which actually Gary, by the way, everyone seems to like. So kudos to you. Again, a lot of comments lately about how much of a great addition you are. But it's nice having a 3-man panel. Sorry, Foo, we miss you. And since I'm saying sorry, Rob, I definitely forgot to play your new intro song that you made for this show.
It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke.
Sorry.
It's something that's really serious.
I'm very Phil.
I feel with you there, Rob. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But digressing, we're going to be breaking down all things boxing today. News, upcoming fights in this weekend, everything. Prograis-Taylor, Oscar De La Hoya's sexual assault allegation. Obviously, all the other fights, Lubin-Gallimore, Shakur Stevenson fighting for a vacant belt. Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz pay-per-view card is completely confirmed and official. We're going to talk about that. We're going to debate whether it's worth the price tag and everything else in the boxing world. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. But like I said, I'm joined by an almost full panel. Let's go out to the UK. Mr. Robbie Hearns, who's probably very upset with me. Second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, what's up, man?
Nothing. I'm all right. Just unbelievable. But, yeah, all good. Glad to be back.
Hold on. I blame you because you didn't remind me all day.
The fact that I have to blame you, I have to remind you to be a good friend.
To be terrible. A good friend. Oh, my God. The framing of that.
Dear. But no, all good. Glad to be back. Hit that thumbs up, share the show. All that good stuff. Click the notifications bell. There will be a new intro when Matt remembers it. I did send it to him very last second, but he was all flapping and like, I can't put it on the board and stuff.
It wouldn't switch over. I tried. You didn't just send it as a video. You sent it as a shareable.
It saved it on iCloud.
Yeah, that was weird. That threw me off.
I don't know why. All right, it wasn't weird when I sent it to you the other day.
It's true.
Ready for the show, no. Just go to Gary. We got stuff to talk about.
Let's go to Gary in Dallas. Gary, what's up?
Great weekend of boxing coming up. That starts on Friday. If anyone's got the UFC Fight Pass, it's a great fight on UFC Fight Pass on Friday. I'm just excited for this week. I'm excited about the news. I'm excited to have a full panel. And you guys should have saw Rob's face when it played the old intro. It looked like a kid finding out there was no Santa Claus. It was just devastating.
What do you mean?
When the old intro played instead of your new one.
The look of sadness on your face.
No. About Santa Claus. What are you talking about?
Anyways, digressing.
No, it's just sometimes certain family members might be watching,
If you've concocted some story that some guy comes to their house, that's on you. Don't put that on me.
Mute him.
No, hold on. Rob, you should not let your kid be watching my show, okay? That's a bigger topic. do not let your kids watch this program. It's not for kids. But
with a certain topic that's coming up.
No, definitely with a certain topic coming up. Oh my God, nasty ass Oscar De La Hoya. Damn. But before we get to that, let's talk about the fights this weekend.
Allegation, Matt.
Allegation. Yes. He's so nasty. Sorry. Let's get to the fights this weekend. Let's break them down. First up, obviously, the marquee one, Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor on DAZN in the U.S., Sky Box Office in the U.K., happening in the O2 in London. I'm excited for this one. Like, this is one of those that, on top of just being a great fight on paper, there's, like, nationalistic lines that ties into it, UK versus U.S., which, come on, guys. We love that. We love that narrative. And it's two undefeated fighters. It's good knockout percentage from both of them. Great boxers overall. The winner of this seems to be on a path towards a pound-for-pound spot in the next couple years. And this fight just seems like it has a lot of meaning to it, even though the meaning is not immediate at this point in time. But guys, just sort of preliminary thoughts about the fight. Prograis-Taylor, Rob, I mean, it's here. It's coming up, obviously, this Saturday. Are you hyped? I mean, the gloves off was, I think, yesterday, the day before. I want to say it was released. I watched part of it. I didn't watch all of it, to be honest. But I will say this: when I saw it, it was only an hour or two after it was posted, and it already had 60,000 views. So good for this fight that seems to be at least trending for our community. But Rob, your preliminary thoughts on sort of the hype of this fight, the attention it's getting, sort of the meaning behind sort of the winner of this fight and what it could mean for this division, so on and so forth, before we get into the X's and O's and our prediction.
It's obviously a fantastic fight. I don't think it's necessarily one for the casual market. I think it is another one for us, much like on another level, but much like Beterbiev and Vajdik. I think
Absolutely.
It's that kind of, maybe a little more mainstream here than over there on your side of things. But yeah, amazing fight. It's a real, I don't know. This is as close to a 50-50, I think. Not sure if the betting reflects that. I'll check that in a minute. But it is a tough pick because you can see both guys winning it.
Absolutely,
you really can. You can make an argument for both, and no one can particularly really argue against your argument. Whichever one you side with. But it's a fantastic fight, and as far as promotion and buzz for it over here, let me tell you, Regis Prograis has done the circuit big time.
Good
promotion. And interestingly, I think he's linked up with an ESPN, I think top rank sort of publicist, and she's got him hooked up for everything he's done. Talk Sport.
Do you know who the publicist is?
I can't remember the name.
When you find that, even if it's after the show, send it to me if you find that information out.
Yeah, okay, I will do.
You know me.
I'll find it in the show.
Theories.
I remember Raging Babe gave a shout out to.
Emily.
Yes,
I'm not, Emily. You follow me. We talk all the time. I'm not gonna try to butcher your last name. I think it's Greek or Italian. But Emily, you're awesome. You definitely do a great job.
So he's linked up with her.
That's good
for promote, and yeah, he's been everywhere. Sneakily, I hope it's took something out of him because he's been really pushing it. We've had all his stories of the Katrina, the hurricane, and just what he went through with that, and
the other one, I forget the name of it, that hit Houston, obviously.
So he's really come across well. It seems like a cool guy, and obviously as soon as he can talk about that, and he seems really nice, talks about his family or life story, but the minute the name Josh Taylor comes up, there's a change in
quickly. We have a contrary information here to what you said. Potential lunatic, obviously good friend of the show, sort of like an unofficial associate producer, saying it's Melissa. Again, another last name I'm not going to try to pronounce. That is actually the publicist you're thinking of, which I want to say lunatic might be right. It might have been her because I remember both of them were getting shout outs recently. But digress from that. brief thought on just the pay-per-view over there in the UK, Rob, because obviously this fight's on DAZN over here. It's already in a, it's overseas. It's, like you said, a hardcore fight, and it's on DAZN. Like, the topic of what this fight could do in terms of numbers isn't a U.S. topic. It's more of a UK topic because it's pay-per-view over there. So what do you think it does? To sort of give a ballpark number, maybe compare it to a fight that did maybe around the numbers you're thinking of.
Well,
like
Campbell.
Quick example. Sorry, will this do better than Warrington Frampton?
I can't remember those numbers.
Doesn't matter. Do you just think it will do better?
No.
No. Okay.
Although one's on BT, one's Sky. It depends on the level of
push and attention,
viewership, I guess. But for me, what was it? Campbell, Lomachenko, rumors. What was it? 2
something? Yeah, 220.
No, 20, like low 200s. Campbell, Olympic gold medalist. Obviously, Lomachenko's like pound guy. I don't know. I think 200-ish, maybe. I think it, like I said at the start, this is kind of a hardcore fight, really. This isn't going to be grabbing a bunch. But, I mean, Josh Taylor's got Scotland, right behind him. So maybe it'll do good numbers in that regard. But I've got no care about the numbers it does. It's just I want to see this real bad. This is...
Well, I was curious because you mentioned Prograis doing the media circuit. And,
yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily going to...
might it, maybe let me frame the argument. I think that, or should I say, do you think that Prograis-Taylor has the potential to sort of overachieve when it is just a hardcore fight? I think you compared it to obviously Beterbiev and Vajdic, but those are two Eastern European fighters fighting in the U.S. market on ESPN Plus. I want to say it was it ESPN? No, it was regular ESPN. That's right. We have viewership that we're going to talk about later on. That fight had no real pull with the demographic, honestly, that it was geared towards. This fight is Josh Taylor fighting in the UK, where he's from. Maybe it's not Scotland, but still the UK. And Regis Prograis is American, so at least you have that segment of the audience watching it. Is there any chance this can sort of overachieve its hardcore status and do 300,000 pay-per-view buys in the UK?
It might, because of Chisora Price.
Mm-hmm.
And the undercard might push it. I mean, Chisora told everybody there's the reason I'm the main event. I'm selling the tickets. People are going to buy the pay-per-views. So it may well do, actually. But I just based the original, I guess, prediction off of the main event. But thinking about who's underneath it, and because that's got quite a lot of buzz over here now. Chisora Price.
I feel like it had to. It's a heavyweight fight. Two guys have always been good draws. Gary, I'm not going to ask you what you think it's going to do on DAZN. No one really cares. No. And we're never going to know. So, I mean, let's be honest. Like, that just doesn't matter. Who do you think is going to win? You've been the one on sort of our, panel here, including Foo, that I felt like that you have sat on the fence the most. Rob is firmly picked. I think I have a firm pick and a firm argument. You have sat on the fence and sort of waffled here. Where do you sit now?
I haven't kind of waffled. Like, every time one of the guys have fought, I said, "Oh, that guy's definitely the best fighter in the weight class." Whenever the Tartan Tornado would fight, I would say, "Oh, Taylor's the best 140-pounder in the world." And then Prograis would fight. I said, "Oh, he's even better." After Prograis' last performance, and Taylor's was good too, but Taylor was really tested. I said, "Okay, Prograis is the best guy, and I think Prograis will win the fight." Now, as we get closer to the fight, I'm starting to waffle again. Like, I think Prograis is better. He's the more skilled guy. There's more gears to Prograis. Prograis will go on and have the better career. But Taylor is stylistically as tall, as rangy, and with power. I don't know how Prograis is going to pick him. Is going to beat him. He has to get inside constantly, and that's not really the way Prograis fights. Now, I think Prograis is good enough where he can figure this out. But if we go to the cards and this thing is close, don't you kind of feel it's going to Taylor?
Yeah, I definitely have a point about that when I start ranting about it. But yeah, I think you're probably right that Taylor is more geared towards winning a round in this style matchup than Prograis.
So Prograis got to knock him out. And Taylor's been in with Baranchek. He's been in with Postal. So he's been in with top-notch, top 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been able to stop him. Now, none of those guys are as good as Prograis. I'm going to flip a coin on this. Like, I'm going to go with Prograis officially. But I may text you a change of mind as we get closer to Saturday. For the show, I'm going to take Prograis by split decision.
All right. Rob.
Yeah.
Because I know you're picking the opposite way. Your thoughts on this fight and the X's and O's, and how does Josh Taylor beat Regis Prograis?
For me, I think he's the better boxer. I think he's longer. What, Gary? Chill out on the faces.
Taylor's the better boxer than Prograis?
Yeah, I believe so. But
he's the more traditional boxer.
Yeah, I think he's got a better. I think he'll be longer. So I think if he can establish the jab, my only concern is Taylor likes to get in close and have a tear up when he can just get on be like the boxer, but he likes to jump in and let the hands go, and I guess that's where the risk is. But for me, we've seen Taylor in a couple of tough spots, and he's always come through it. And we've seen that he can, he's got that dog in him, and he can, when it matters, he can come through that. I don't think we've seen Prograis tested, and it'll be interesting to see if he's in a tough spot how he comes out of it. So based on what I've seen and what what sort of looks I've seen from different people, and where I guess Taylor being in tough spots but coming through early on in a career, I am going to lean Josh Taylor, and I think I'm really hesitant to think. Sorry. I just don't know about a stoppage or a knockdown or anything. I don't know. I think these two could just go to. I don't know. If it was in the old days, I could see this being like round fucking 29 or something, and they're still just stood there trading off and going crazy with each other, because I don't know. I just think it's going to be epic. I know lately, which is great for boxing, but we keep saying this could be a fight of the year. This could be a fight of the year. This could be a fight. There seems to be a bunch of them, but this definitely has all the makings of being fight of the year. I just want to see Prograis tested, and if he comes through that test, yeah, it could be a difficult night for Taylor. It really is. Like I say, I'm not like Prograis this, that, and the other. Taylor's gonna demolish him. He's no good. Taylor's the man. I'm not doing the whole flag waving thing, because to me this is really, I've just sent you the odds, Matt. I mean, Prograis is a -162 and Taylor's a +136. There's not really anything.
It's basically even money.
Yeah, so it's as close to a 50-50 as you're going to get, I guess. So may the best man win. Really, this is going to be epic, and the winner of this to me is the best in the division, even though Ramirez is over there with 2 belts. But this will be the number one in the division, in my opinion.
I have several points. I'll get to that last one though, but please remind me, because I'm going to have several points to make. But I want to get to that whole: is this the fight to determine the number one guy in the division? I don't want to leave this fight before we talk about that more in depth. I agree with a lot of the sentiments that you both said, because you both said similar things, especially when it comes to what Taylor sort of needs to do to win. He needs to stay at range. He needs to use his reach, his height. And on top of that, he is a southpaw. He's a guy that naturally can probably circle Prograis with the jab, with combinations on the outside a little more easier than Prograis. When Prograis is naturally a guy that wants to be on the inside exchanging combinations. However, some things are needed to do that. One, you need to land your jab. And while Taylor is quite efficient with his jab, quite accurate with his jab, and has a powerful jab on top of it too, Prograis is one of those guys where he might be the hardest guy to hit clean in this division. You know, he's fought guys that have hit defensive boxers. Caleb Ray, like a guy that gave Rancis Bartholomew a tough fight back-to-back, okay? Wasn't really able to land much on Regis Prograis. Why? Because Prograis' defense is actually really top-notch. Even though he is an aggressive, come-forward fighter, a lot of his game is predicated off of his defense, actually. His ability to slip a shot and then quickly sort of separate that distance between him and his opponent and get on the inside. Prograis has a knack for that. And Taylor is going to have to throw someone else in the jab probably to hit Prograis, in my opinion. Because in my thinking, while the jab is absolutely important, it's crucial to Taylor's game here to hit that jab and then keep circling to his right, keep circling to the right, and keep turning Prograis. You have to do that. If he's not able to land that jab, he's going to have to land something else with that left hand, maybe an uppercut, maybe a short left hand on the inside, left straight. And again, Prograis is really adept at slipping shots and rolling undershots. And I think that ultimately Taylor's going to have a really hard time hitting him. And I think almost in similar fashion to the fight last week with Beterbiev and Vajic, I think probably Taylor's going to be up on scorecards when the stoppage happens because he's going to be throwing more shots. I think because of his boxing sort of game plan, it will look nicer at times. And I do think it's going to land combinations, air quotes, on Prograis. Prograis is going to be slipping them and rolling with them quite well, but he's going to sort of just eat shots and roll with them until he gets on the inside and starts landing his combinations. And then once that happens, once he separates that distance consistently, the power is going to take over for Prograis, in my opinion. The aggressiveness of Prograis is going to take over, in my opinion. And when we talk about aggressive fighters, it's one thing just to be an aggressive fighter and a brawler. It's another thing to be an aggressive fighter who has elite level boxing skill and talent. And Prograis has that in spades. So that's going to make his aggressiveness even more efficient. I think this is going to be a fun fight where, again, Taylor's probably going to be throwing more, but missing more. And Prograis by round 4, 5, 6 is going to take over. And the wear and tear of the body work of Prograis is going to take over. And expect a late fight finish, maybe round 10, TKO, Prograis finishing Taylor. And I think it's going to be maybe not an instant classic, but it's definitely going to be probably in that top 15-ish fights that we talk about at the end of the year. 100%. Guys, any last thoughts about the X's and O's and who wins this fight?
I wanted to add, this is the best fight. Not the biggest fight, certainly, but I think the best fight. You have two undefeated fighters, both in their absolute prime, fighting. And we've got this because of the World Boxing Super Series, which everyone likes to dump on, right? So, again, it's not bigger than Spence Porter, but it's a more competitive and better fight with two. I mean, I can't believe we're really getting this fight. We don't really get this type of fight in boxing too often.
Now, to that point, is this the fight to determine the number one guy at junior welterweight? Rob, I think you made the claim that it is. However, similar, I think, just the way the universe works, this fight mirrors Beterbiev and Vajic in a lot of ways. That fight, to me, clearly determined the number one guy in the division because it was the only unified champion after that fight. I would say if you're comparing it to Bivol, the winner of that fight would have a better resume than Bivol does. While this sort of division is not the case. The winner of the winner of this fight is a unified champion along with Jose Ramirez, who also is a unified champion. On top of it, I don't know if you can make the argument as cleanly that the winner of this fight has a out-and-out better resume than Jose Ramirez. Again, you can make the argument, but it's not as clear-cut. So I don't know if the winner of this fight is the clear number one guy in the division. You can clearly make that argument, but I don't know if it is a consensus. I don't know if it's as clear-cut as, let's say, the winner of last weekend's fight in Beterbiev and Vajic. Guys,
I want to address that, right? Because months ago, before Hooker Ramirez, if I would have said rank these four guys, Prograis-Taylor, Hooker, Ramirez, you would have said either Hooker I mean, either Prograis and Taylor as 1 and 2, and then Ramirez and Hooker as 3 and 4. So basically, you had 3 and 4 fight each other. Well, you can't get above 1 and 2 unless you beat one of those guys, right? And now you have 1 and 2 fighting each other. So how are they not the winner of that? Not number 1.
But
you know
again,
what I'm saying?
but your premise on its surface before we even started was highly subjective. I don't know if we could make the argument that Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis were the clear number 1, number 2 when this tournament started. And I don't know if we can say that now because Ramirez clearly showed high elite level boxing skill against Maurice Hooker.
Let me ask you this though, Matt. Hooker versus Prograis at 140. Prograis wins that, right?
Yes.
Taylor beats Hooker too, right?
No.
Oh!
Get out. Fucking
And I'm the Texas fanboy. I would pick Prograis to beat Taylor. Oh! Hooker's on my wall too.
Oh my god. When Matt answered no.
You finally got one! Yay! I've been waiting forever for one of those sound bites. Anyways.
Oh my god.
Rob, but you're the one that really made the claim that like the winner of this one is the number 1 guy. Do you think it's clear? Like, do you think it's without a doubt in your mind? And I'm only asking your opinion now, which is fine. Whatever your opinion is,
I mean,
that's fine.
look, I know you said Gary's reasoning was no sort of premise to make that argument, but this is all on our opinion. You're asking, do we think the winner of this guy fight is the clear number 1? And I'm along the lines of Gary that Prograis-Taylor 1 and 2, whichever order, and then it was maybe Ramirez Hooker. Now they fought each other, which means the winner of that is 3, and then the winner of this is 1 and 2. Until Ramirez faces off with the winner of this, we won't actually know because the winner of that is the undisputed champion. But as it stands right now, the winner of this fight, in my opinion, is the best 140-pounder in the division.
You all made good arguments. I just don't know if I agree with it, but hey, we can move on. Derek Chisora fighting David Price in the co-main event. Guys, how long does this one last? 4 rounds? 3 rounds? Like, how long does it take for Chisora to knock out David Price?
That's a very defeatist attitude.
I'm not saying it's bad. Like, I'm always in there for a David Price knockout. You know, like those are always comical.
Price is a plus 300. That's all. 3-1.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Again,
some wins together. He has like he beat David Allen and then he beat the other Cash Ali guy.
He didn't beat Cash Ali. He got bit.
He got bit.
Is that what I can't remember that fight?
Yeah, he got disqualified for biting Chisora on the nipple.
That's right.
No, Price. No, it's Price, right? No, Cash Ali bit Price, not Chisora.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, he done a kinkier version of Tyson Holyfield, that's all.
Yeah.
He went a little more central. Although the earlobe, who knows? Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm picking Chisora. And there is that, Chisora Price. If he hits you, you might stay hit. But if you hit him, he's staying hit. It'd be interesting if Chisora lands that punch he landed on Spilka. I can see David Price going down just as heavy as Spilka did, But Price, I don't know. He's kind of like a confidence man, and like Gary said, whether it was because of a disqualification and this, that, and the other, he's got a little run going, and I think the confidence is there, and he showed against. I know it's Dave Allen, and before anyone says, "Oh wow, good Dave Allen," I'm just saying, but he put together some good boxing, and he kept Dave Allen away, and he put on, a decent display. I'm not making any bones about it. This isn't the world elite heavyweight that can offer us right now, but it's a fun fight. But I can see, I'm picking Chisora by knockout, but I don't know how long it'll take to do that. But a switched on David Price is dangerous. Look, he nearly, if that corner hadn't have held Povetkin up, I don't know. he fucking absolutely launched Povetkin across the ring, and he was lucky enough to have the Scooby-Doo legs to keep him upright. He backpedaled and the corner held him up. It might have been different, but as we know, David Price can sometimes switch off, leave his chin in the air, and there seems to be that good night button on there. So I don't know, but it's a fun fight. It's a good co-main and entertaining, and the crowd will be right up for it, and it'll be good watching, I think.
Gary, thoughts on the co-main?
I think Chisora wins, but I think it's competitive and fun. I think I'd say 6th round knockout, but I think both guys have moments. Just Chisora's too big and too much, right? Like, the only thing I like about Chisora is he's huge and fairly athletic for a guy that size.
Yes, agreed. And I definitely think that he has a better, gas tank than David Price as well. I think that might be a factor. But if it is a factor, oh God, help us all if this fight starts going rounds, and Chisora needs to worry about, or Chisora needs to lean on his cardio. Moving on, another really good fight on this undercard: Ricky Burns versus Lee Selby. Definitely a crossroads fight for both guys. Ricky Burns, tail end of his career. This might even be like one of his, if not his last fight in his career. A guy that's been around for a very long time. Definitely one of the best Scottish boxers of all time. Lee Selby, though, is a guy that had so much hype and so much potential, but has struggled, especially since obviously the Josh Warrington loss. Has not looked that good. Jumped all the way up, I think, to 140 for a fight, right? Did he jump up to 140 or just 135?
135, I think.
Okay. I know this fight was rumored for a period of time to be at 140, but they settled at 135. And I'm concerned sort of where like Lee Selby is at in his career. Does he have the dedication for the sport anymore? Is he going to sort of rebound and rebuild his career from that devastating loss? This is one of those fights that's going to determine that. If he can't beat a old veteran, but again, old Ricky Burns, that's a massive red flag for a guy like Lee Selby. Guys, thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it's a good fight. I never thought we were going to see a fight like this fight come together, but yeah, okay, kind of out of nowhere, this fight was made. Just so you know, this is very similar betting odds to Prograis-Taylor. It's very, very tight, almost evens. But Selby is the very slight favorite. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one, but you've got to think maybe Selby, if he's on point, will be just too good for Ricky Burns, I think. But I think it could be a fun fight. Ricky Burns is, is proven tough, legit sort of operator. But I think Selby might just be a little bit too classy for him.
Gary, thoughts on Ricky Burns, Lee Selby?
I thought this was going to be my big upset pick, but now Rob is telling me the odds are fairly even. I'm going to pick Ricky Burns to go to the well one more time. He looked good in his last fight against Scott Cardle. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Sure.
Ricky Burns has fought at 140, and he even fought Omar Figueroa at 47. He's going to be naturally the bigger guy. I think he knows that this is his last stand. And you look at Ricky Burns, he's probably a Hall of Famer. Lee Selby's not. So that tells me that Burns is better. He's better and bigger. And he knows this is it. If he loses, he goes into irrelevancy. I'm going to pick Burns to eke out a split decision.
I'm not mad with that at all. I think probably Ricky Burns. Is Ricky Burns the actual favorite? Rob, who's the actual betting favorite, even though it's close?
Lee Selby, marginally.
Okay. Gun to my head, I'm going to go with Gary here. I'm picking Ricky Burns, man. I've always been a big fan of Ricky Burns. When I traveled to Scotland, it was like a week after he lost to Terrence Crawford, and it was noticeable there, man. They were sad. So, Ricky Burns, always support you, man. The rest of the undercard, though, I don't have a lot of thoughts on. Lawrence Okolie is on the card.
In
a big fight. The guy he's fighting, I don't. How do you say his last name?
Yves Nagabu.
He's supposed to be. I don't know much about him. He's pretty highly regarded in circles. I'm into that fight. I don't know anything about him, but I know he's supposed to be good. So I'm looking forward to seeing him fight against Nicoli. I mean, that should be.
Ooh, he beat Mickey Nielsen. Okay. Oh, he's not bad. Okay. Nagabu.
Quite a knockout ratio as well.
14 knockouts on 20. It's not amazing, but it's definitely, it's over 50%. Cool. It's a Lawrence Okolie fight, so I automatically am just worried and skeptical about it.
Nah, he's improving under McGuigan. He's got a busy night for McGuigan.
Conor Benn on the card, Austin Ammo Williams on the card, Shannon Courtney on the card, a guy named Dennis Radovan, who's undefeated with a draw, who I've never heard of, Abbas Barreo.
Wait, let me get the card up.
Who's 7-0. I've never heard of him, fighting John O'Donnell. But yeah, Austin Ammo Williams, he's fighting. Conor Benn's fighting. Basically, after you get from like at least Subby Ricky Burns, the card kind of turns into just a matchroom card.
But there's 3 good fights on it, and then
Absolutely.
a couple like Ammo Williams and Okolie. So there's
good
good
card.
prospects. Yeah, it's a.
good
I
card.
think it's a really good card.
No,
in
it is.
total.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, it's a good
The
card.
ones you're struggling with, Matt, are the ones where Callus Haviland asked to be on the card. The other ones are all matchroom.
I'm not surprised.
But no, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, for sure. I think it's decent. I think Conor Benn's opponent pulled out 2 days ago or today or whatever, but there's been a replacement. So
Laszlo Toth is the name I have.
what, the latest one?
Yes, well, I that's the name. Oh, no, sorry, not Laszlo. I think it's an I. Lazio Toth.
Yes.
Yes. Foogatti in the chat. What Foogatti? Hope you're at work listening to the show. Saying Matt pronouncing names is a favorite moment of mine.
It should be its own little segment. Like Matt pronouncing foreign names.
It's really good.
Rob,
No,
what
hold
was the name of
on,
the guy?
hold on, quickly. You guys shit on me, but I have a better percentage of getting them right than getting them wrong. More than you guys.
but I don't try as often, right? So like, if
Yeah,
something's
you're
hard,
like
just don't even try. You know.
Yeah, Gary don't care.
Rob, what was the name of the guy that Sam Eggington just beat?
Oh, fuck that. I ain't even trying.
Oh no, it was the Figueiredo. No, that's the Brazilian fighter.
You're going down the right path. It starts with a fee.
It was like a double figure.
Matt said that's like 3 names stuck together. It's Fidia Giulio.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not. Yeah, we're moving past that, guys. Any last thoughts on this card?
Now you said it, Gary. It's easy. Fidio Giulio. Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
Any
But reading it, get the fuck out of it.
any last thoughts on this card, gentlemen?
Excellent card.
Congratulations, you have my £20.
Moving on, Showtime on Saturday. Erickson Lubin fighting Nathaniel Gallimore, obviously, since who was
Matt's got straight past Shakur Stevenson world title shot again.
Well, I'll be honest. Like, look, Shakur, you are technically fighting for a world title, but in terms of name value, you're a lesser name than Robert Easter and even Erickson Lubin in a way. So,
in a way, when you have to say in a way.
yeah, I mean, because like Shakur, if he's listening, he would come back and say, "Well, I'm fighting for a belt," but Lubin's fought better opponents. Robert Easter was a champion, and his fight is a much better fight than against Jacobs-Gonzalez, in my opinion. But digressing,
I don't know.
It's a good fight, but not Easter Granados, in my opinion. But digressing, Lubin-Gallimore, it should be competitive until it's not, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is I think Gallimore is rugged and durable enough, and he has basic talent enough to contend for, let's say, 3 to 4 rounds. But I think Erickson Lubin's been developing with each fight. I think he's really growing into a true world-level top 10 fighter when before he was kind of just shoved in that position when he wasn't ready and wasn't really hadn't really built the ability and the skill for that. Now he has that. So I think by round 4 or 5, he should 100% take over this fight and probably get Gallimore out within the next 2 to 3 rounds after that. So round 7 or 8, expect a TKO stoppage from Erickson Lubin, in my opinion. I think Lubin, again, is just a better boxer. He's a heavier hitter. And again, he is developing his talent far more lately than basically anyone else on this card, but especially against his opponent. Gary, thoughts on Lubin-Gallimore?
I like this fight. I like it because Gallimore was one of those guys who was kind of hyped, like when he beat Jason Rosario and Justin Deloach.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's got it. And there was never anything really more to him. It was like, okay, he'll beat that level of fighter, but he'll lose to everyone at the top. This is a really good test for Lubin. I think Lubin wins, but I think this is fun. I think this is something that Lubin has, and he may stop him late, but I'm going to pick him by decision. But I think this is a fight where he has to dig deep, and he's going to have to win some rounds at the end to close the show here. Like I think Gallimore is going to have some moments. He's going to win some rounds. I think he's a good boxer. I think this is an excellent test for Lubin that I think he passes in a very competitive fight.
Rob, thoughts on Erickson Lubin versus Nathaniel Gallimore?
Let me just check ITV's boxing schedule. Nope. Yeah, I expect Lubin to come through this. Although I believe Gallimore, he can punch.
He's a heavy hitter, yeah, for sure.
Some crack. So maybe he'll find that button that Charlo found, and leave Lubin in a wreck that he was before. But I expect Lubin to come through this. I think it's a decent test and on the right sort of trajectory to get back to sort of. I think it's been good in a way that if he was going to lose to Charlo, then whatever, he's coming back, building back, and I think it's been slower rather than he seemed to be thrust into the Charlo fight, and people were like hyped at the time. And I think, if we saw that fight again at that stage, I think things would have been different, or it would have gone longer, or it just walked onto it just happened.
Look, you can make an honest and easy argument that Lubin should have fought all these guys he fought after Charlo before he ever fought Charlo.
Yeah.
Guys like Ishe Smith, he should have fought before he fought Charlo. Clearly. Like that, I don't know why he stepped from Jorge Cota, a guy that no one's heard of, and went from that to Jamel Charlo, a guy that was a surging champion at the time. Made no sense.
I was one of them, but people picked Lubin to win that fight.
I know.
Not a lot, but there were many people who did.
Because they had a great promotional machine around Lubin. They really did. Like for some reason, it connected. Lubin connected. He was on big cards too. He had some good flashy knockouts. And the machine was behind him, man. The PBC machine, Showtime machine. At that time, you had CBS, Fox, NBC, had other networks too that were in play. Lubin just had a really neat, decent push comparative to a lot of other guys.
There's also no shame in losing to a Texas fighter.
Moving on. Robert Easter Jr. fighting Adrian Granados in the co-main event in another sort of crossroads fight for both guys, sort of switching back to the other card. Easter, you guys know, Rob knows, right? I've always been a fan of Robert Easter as a fighter. I've always thought he's been a fun boxer to watch. But clearly the guy has not progressed in some time. And the Rances Bartholomew fight was noticeably bad. So I have a real hard time understanding or trying to sort of predict, I should say, what Robert Easter is showing up here, how he looks. This is at 140 now. It's against Granados, who's a heavy hitter, a guy that honestly has only lost some of the best fighters out there, right? Like Granados doesn't lose to B-level guys. He loses to A-level guys. And he beats the other B-level guys. So if Easter is really, a guy that truly should have lost to Fortuna and all these other guys, which definitely there's an argument for that, then Granados kind of should win this one. Even though Granados is coming off of a massive knockout loss from Danny Garcia back in February or March. However, this is going to be a true test of Robert Easter. How much more does he have in the tank in terms of at the elite level? And I think this is clearly a fight to sort of test that out from Al Heyman. in PBC. They clearly want to see what else do we have here with Easter. You know, how good is this guy? He should be better. Why is he not better? Let's have him fight Granados, who's sort of the perennial gatekeeper, it seems, at 140 and 147. Guys, thoughts on this fight? Any sort of prediction? I'm going to pick Easter by decision, but I do that with no confidence at all. Like, I think Easter should win at distance, but I don't know. It's Easter.
I'm going to pick Granados. I
Damn it.
think Granados lost a lot of the fights because he was fighting 47-pounders. Like, Granados always said, okay, I'll fight this one at 47, but then I'm going back down to 40. And then Al would give him another 47-pounder, right? So, like, I think he belongs at 40, and I think he's going to have more pop, and I think he's going to be stronger, and I think he wears him down. He may lose a bunch of rounds, but I think he's going to be losing the fight, but winning the storyline, and I think he stops him late. 10th round knockout.
Rob? By the way, 10th round is the last round in the fight. It's not 12 rounds.
Oh, this is. All right, I'll stick with it then.
Just in case that changed anything,
It meant I don't have to see 2 extra rounds of Robert Easter not boxing it to his dimensions. Then yeah, great. Can we have a 6-rounder? No, I've never been a fan of Easter for some reason. I just don't like how he fights.
It's frustrating. He's like, obviously to a better degree, right? Because he like achieved far more. But like I would imagine it would be like the same frustration as like I have with like Okoli, like a guy that clearly had like this frame, the power, speed. Just like be a better boxer, please. Like, how are you not like developing your boxing ability at all? For the love of God, you have all the tools there. Like, why aren't you putting it together better? But Easter obviously is far more has achieved far more than Okoli. But I think that sort of similar issue of you have this long reach, long sort of tall height advantage. Just the overall size in your division is just ginormous. Like, why aren't you using this?
Yeah, I just don't see that he's ever put that. He could have been an absolute beast in the division, I think, but I don't know. But and shout out to Granados for coming in and taking the fight, and we haven't had the Bartholomew rematch.
Oh, thank God.
Ooh,
this is a far better fight, and plus it's Easter going to 140, stay at 140. I know he's been talking about going back down to 135. I don't want to see that. Please stop.
Why? But yeah, no, I don't know. Just purely for the dislike for Robert Easter, I'm going to pick Granados.
Quickly, Hassan's in Easter by boredom, probably. No, I don't think it's going to be bore. I don't think it's going to be boredom. I think Granados is a fun fighter. He usually puts in fun fights.
I'm going to wait for Twitter to tell me the result and see the reaction.
Well, of course, you're going to be
whether I bother with Daily Motion.
Well, you're going to be sleeping the whole time. And Hassan Malik saying, yeah, so y'all don't like tall inside fighters. No, I don't mind tall inside fighters. Let's say Jared Hurd, right? Jared Hurd's a tall inside fighter, but you have to be good at it. Like Easter's not a good inside fighter. And the comparison I use, obviously, Okoli, definitely not a good inside fighter. Jared Hurd, a tall guy, but he's an inside fighter. He's really good at it, really efficient at it. Yeah, he lost, obviously, to J-Rock, but he's still obviously a really efficient inside fighter. I mean, the old school version or person I always use is like a James Toney. Like James Toney at 160 was a tall inside fighter. One of my favorite fighters of all time, but he was good at it. To be a tall guy and who's taller than your opponent with longer reach, but still be on the inside, it takes like another level of skill and talent, actually. Like it's far easier to be the short, stocky guy to get on the inside. Just naturally how your body is framed and how your body is wired. But digressing from that.
Paul Williams. Great, big inside fighter. Yeah.
Yes, Paul Williams. Good shout out. The rest of this card is not too... It's not anything to be on. Like, Omar Douglas is on the card. I really like watching Omar Douglas. I will give a shout out to Omar Douglas. Wow. Because like a lot of these fights just got announced like yesterday or the day before, right? Vito, that big time prospect, the amateur prospect that just got picked up. Vito,
The kid from Jersey.
Yes. Yes, that kid. Yeah, that guy. That guy. He's
I
on this
can't
card.
say his last name either.
No,
And
Let me have a go. But first, someone in the chat says, is that the guy from The Shining?
Who?
Gary. Oh my god. Wait. I need to find this card. I'm gonna say the name.
It's Vito Minicki.
If it's Vito Nicky, if it is legitimately spelled
No. Vito, you didn't hear me. Vito Minicki.
I think that's right. That may be right.
Maniki.
I'm gonna find it. Wait. So what card's this?
The Lubin card.
Oh yeah. Let me go back.
Great radar right here, guys. I love it.
It'll give people time to press that. It'll give people time to press the thumbs up, won't it? And
share the show. And subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. And maybe even go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. If you're adventurous out there. Rob, you found it yet?
Yep.
It's towards
the
bottom.
How are you saying it?
I said Maniki.
Maniki.
Yes.
Even though it's I-E-L, then Nicky. Nicky.
Wait, there's an L in there?
Yeah, look, before the N.
That's an L?
Is it not?
My screen's far away. You have to remember that, man. Like I don't have my computer right in front of me like you guys. Or actually, this isn't my computer. This is my monitor.
I'm going to say Vito Mielnicki Jr. Mielnicki.
Mielnicki?
Meal. Like meal.
Anyways, moving on.
Why are we talking about him anyway?
I remember because he was a big time prospect. Like he won a bunch of Golden Gloves. I think,
cool.
Yeah, like he was a amateur guy. Like that just became a pro fighter.
Two, I know at the moment.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to quickly mention him, but it turned into, hey, let's try to pronounce his name. Moving on to the last notable card of the weekend, we're going to talk about some other.
Did you mention a Jaguar is off this card?
Well, I didn't mention he was on it. Should I mention that he's not on it specifically because he isn't?
What he was
supposed to be on it. He's not anymore.
Out, yesterday?
I want to say it was the day before, but you could be right. These days blur all into the same. But yeah, Agabe isn't on the card. Mm-hmm. News. Excuse me.
I've been thinking, this is the card with a Jaguar on it.
No.
Well, he's not anymore.
I think he got hurt.
Back injury,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, last marquee event of the weekend. Shakur Stevenson fighting for a vacant belt against Jacobs-Gonzalez. Also on the card, Joshua Greer Jr. versus Antonio Nieves. Little fun fight right there. And Michaela Mayer also on the card against Alejandra Zamora. Albert Bell on the card. Andy Vences. And that's about it for notable names on the card. But let's talk obviously about the main event itself. Drake Gonzalez is a fun fighter. Definitely a guy that's going to give, I think, Shakur maybe some issues, at least in the early half of the fight. But I think Shakur should take over in the second half of the fight. I think he is just a far better boxer. I think his ability to negate pressure, offense is some of the best out of any sort of prospect, or as he's about to be a champion right now in a weird situation. But it's one of those fights where even though Gonzalez is a really decent fighter, he is not known in any way in this division. He has not really been built up properly at all. So even if Shakur, let's say, struggles in this fight, which is acceptable, people might give him a lot of crap for it because they don't know who Joet Gonzalez is, which I don't blame him because I barely know who he is, and I make money off of covering boxing. So it's a weird case here where it's a fighter like Shakur who should be getting more hype but really isn't, fighting for a world championship that's not getting any attention against a guy that has no attention. It's a big recipe for disaster in terms of just awareness for this fight. And again, it's competing with a Showtime card, directly competing with it. Obviously, there's the Prograis-Taylor card, which is earlier in the day, but that won't line up in a direct competition with it. But Showtime will. And I wouldn't be surprised if Showtime does eat up a giant percentage of boxing viewership on Saturday night because it's been promoted better than Shakur's upcoming fight, which is sad in a way. Guys, thoughts about Shakur Stevenson versus Joet Gonzalez, the level of attention on this fight and this card. Gary.
I think it's close for the first half of the fight, and then Shakur Stevenson makes some adjustments and outboxes him. Gonzalez, and he's local to you too. He's an LA guy, isn't he?
He's good. Yeah.
I think Shakur Stevenson pulls it out, but I think it's 8-4, 9-3. I think it's not totally one-sided, but I think it's one-sided in the second half of the fight where Stevenson adjusts and wins 5 or all of the last 6 rounds. Gonzalez is a really good fighter. He has some decent wins. He's still young. I think he will, if he stays at 126 at some point in his career, he will be a world titleist at 126. Like, Gonzalez is a good fighter. This is not going to be an easy fight. Like, just like I don't think Gallimore is going to be an easy fight for Lubin, this is not going to be an easy fight for Gonzalez. And if people hate on Shakur Stevenson because he had a tough fight, then they just don't know anything about Gonzalez.
Do you think this fight has the proper amount of attention on it for Shakur's first title fight on ESPN? ESPN Plus, technically.
Absolutely not, right? Because Shakur Stevenson, you would think, is going to either have a really, really long title range or be a multi-division world champion. So he's fighting in Reno. He's not even fighting in Vegas. He's fighting in Reno. And I haven't seen one commercial on... And I haven't seen one commercial for this fight. Like, you forgot that it was on the other day, right? And Shakur's your guy. I mean, no, it's certainly not gotten the right amount of attention. They should have put it on a Friday. They should have put it in Vegas or in Newark. And this should be a big deal because Shakur Stevenson is their future guy. Like, he should carry the torch for Bud and Loma. Like, this is their guy. I don't understand why they're ignoring it.
Rob, is this fight on BT?
I honestly don't know. Let me check.
Because this might be one of those cards that just doesn't get UK rights. I could see that happening.
Yeah, probably. I can't. It's not even on the BoxRec schedule.
Who thought it was a good idea?
No, it is. It is. It is on the BoxRec schedule.
I see it now. It's
hiding.
No, look, this is different to when I was on it a minute ago. Because when I went on to find it so I could look at the card, guess what I found? Also, this week, Walter Katindakwa is fighting for the WBO International.
Walter. First, we have the sequel to Breaking Bad in El Camino, and now Walter White's coming back. Oh my God, man! I'm so excited.
Yeah, on a card in Kazakhstan against Kanat Islam.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, but Walter, if he can bag himself the WBO International Middleweight title, we could get the Andre rematch happening and pop in.
No, let's not. No. Remix that shit. Nope, not happening.
I don't know. It was a good fight.
Anyways, Rob,
yes.
Thoughts on this card? Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I expect Stevenson to come through, but I don't think he's going to have it all his own way. I think it could be a tough fight. Look, Joey Gonzalez has got nearly double the amount of fights. Still got his O, but obviously Shakur is a standout. And yeah, I can't fathom. I've barely seen any. I'm across everything on Twitter. I haven't seen anything really on Twitter about this. Only like some hardcores talking about it. Not Top Rank or or anyone like that.
Well, remember what it was the last show we did? Remember when Gary was like,
"Yeah,
hey, there's the biggest U.S. prospect, Matt's favorite prospect, fighting this weekend for his first world title. No one remembers." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is he talking about, man?"
Wait, this weekend? What?
I'm like, is he talking about Joe Cardina? Like, well, I'm confused. Like, what? No, it was Shakur Stevenson on main eventing ESPN Plus, fighting for a world title that Oscar Valdez vacated. I wonder if this was Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson, would it be something else? Like, would Top Rank care more? I don't know. It seems odd to me. It seems like a huge misstep.
What do you mean? Would they care more? I don't understand. It's their card. They should care about every card.
No. I know. I agree with that sentiment, but it's clear like there's not a real push behind this card, right? I mean, I know you're in the UK, so maybe it's not the same, but you follow everything on social media.
Social media wise, it's fucking
dead zone.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. And
It's on
quickly,
ESPN.
shout out to Foogatti, our other host, on the super chat. Thank you for giving us your hard-earned money.
Yes, it's Foogatti is, he's not on the shows, but he funds it.
He's the benefactor.
Yeah.
Digressing, I'm really curious what the next step is with Shakur, because it does seem like they planned for something that was better than this, and it fell apart. Whether it was Josh Warrington, whether it was Oscar Valdez, it seemed like they wanted something else, and they got Joet Gonzalez, and it's like, oh, let's just have this card and get over with it. That's what it seems like to me, to be quite honest. Moving on, though, Joshua Greer's on the card, and Michaela Mayer. Any thoughts on those two standout fighters, guys? No?
Yeah, I want to see Mayer.
Well, Michaela Mayer's fighting some.
Carry on, man.
Ooh. Oh, no, Gary froze up. Oh, there he is. Gary's back.
No.
You froze
I'm
up.
good.
You froze up.
Yeah. Did I freeze up?
You did.
Oh.
I don't know. You were sorry.
Okay.
But you
looked very angry, but no, you were just frozen.
Michaela Mayer's fighting someone I've never heard of.
Of course.
Okay. Josh Greer is fighting Nieves. Nieves is a good opponent. I want to see Josh Greer knock him out, right? Because Josh Greer has, in his last fight when he fought whatever his name was relying Potapov, whatever, was relying way too much on his power and was just looking for one shot. The kid's got tremendous skill and tremendous speed. I want to see him. And Nieves is good. Nieves gave Inoue rounds when no one else has, right? And Nieves has some decent wins. He's a good test. I want to see Greer look like that superstar prospect that he is. I want to see him get the stoppage here. Because he had a mediocre performance in his last fight where he had to rally, kind of, because he'd given away rounds looking for knockout in the first 3-4 rounds of the fight. So I want to see a really top-notch performance out of Greer.
Agreed. Moving on, sort of to wrap up the weekend. Like Gary said, there's a UFC Fight Pass boxing card on Friday. Excuse me. Was it Friday?
Yeah,
no,
it's Friday.
No, it's not. Thursday.
Yes,
No, there's multiple ones. Sorry. There's one on Thursday, and I think that is the return of Lou DiBella after Patrick Day's passing as the first card. So expect a big tribute to Patrick Day on that card. Melissa St. Ville's on that card. She's a huge prospect out of women's boxing. That's about it for the notable name. Also on Thursday on ringtv.com, the return of Elwin Soto. Elwin Soto, who those forget, just beat Angel Tito Acosta, who was moving up. And also on this card, fighting Raymond Taburgen in the flyweight division now. Also, there's a lot of fights this weekend, guys. DAZN on Friday in Milan, Italy. I know Gary's interested now. Pantera is fighting on the card. Again, this is Domenico Valentino, and that's about it in terms of fighters that I recognize. Telemundo on Friday, there's a card. Don't know anyone on it. There's also, like Gary said, a card on Friday on UFC Fight Pass in Reno, Nevada. Kendo
Castaneda. I'm going to that card in Reno.
And other people are on that card. Pound for pound potential, or maybe arguably, depends on your definition. But Winhang Menathan is fighting this weekend as well on Friday. No televised portion of it, but if you guys want to see Winhang Menathan fight, he's fighting this weekend.
Disgusting. TBE, and he ain't got no one on TV.
And didn't he just sign with
Golden Boy?
That's right. Why is it not on fucking DAZN? Digressing.
Facebook? Is it on the Golden Boy Facebook?
No, as far as I see, there's no rights to it anywhere. That's it for the weekend, guys, for all the fights. Oh, there's also a Facebook Live card on Friday. Not Friday, sorry. Sunday in Hollywood, California. Serhii Boychik versus Tyrone Brunson. And I don't know anyone else on the card. But yeah, a lot of fights this weekend, guys. If you're trying to watch them all, good luck.
Shout out to DAZN for just linking up with Golden Boy just to get Canelo. we don't want any more of your stuff. Just give us Canelo.
Oh man, no wonder Canelo wanted Golden Boy to open up the books and see how much money they're making off his name. No wonder. But anyways, guys, let's get to the rest of the news of the day, and let's get to this elephant in the room, the scandal in the boxing world right now. Oscar De La Hoya being sued by a woman claiming sexual assault and battery, and the actual specific story is really fucking horrific and nasty. I don't care to read it. I implore anyone to go read it themselves, but I don't want to. It's sick. Obviously, Golden Boy has come out and denied said allegations.
And early setback.
Gotta love that access, guys. Gotta keep that access no matter what. I mean, I'll say this. Obviously, there's a due process for everything, but Oscar has had a long history of substance abuse, has a recent history of legal issues, obviously with a former DJ of Golden Boy. I forget the exact name of the person. I know the DJ name. We have a video about that as well, but it just seems like Oscar has recently, especially with allegations and rumors around of the last year or so, that he has not been well. And so at the very least, at the very base level, I really hope he gets some professional help, because he obviously needs it. Because I'll be honest, if you don't have substance issues, if you're not out there getting into trouble, you don't have stories like this. You know? That's just the God honest truth. You know, like there's probably some fire to this smoke, whether it's fully true, whether it's slightly true, I don't know. But at the very least, Oscar has been in trouble lately, time and time again, it seems. And seems like those substance issues, at least from rumors and allegations within his own company and fighters and stable, seem to be reoccurring. So, again, I really, really hope he gets professional help at the very least. And if these claims and allegations are true, I hope he gets locked up for a good period of time, because it's fucking sick what he is accused of doing. Guys, any thoughts? No.
I mean, obviously, if it's true, yes, he should be locked up and not get out. I don't know if it's true. You know, he's got a history, so maybe that means it's true. Maybe it's not. They're just piling on allegations because it might seem. I don't know. Look, the facts will come out, and if it's true, then yeah, he deserves to be in jail for the rest of his life. I don't have any comment on it. Like, let's just let the facts come out, and we'll see what's true. You know, we'll say it ain't so, Oscar. Say it ain't so.
Hey, man. He, like the very first line in this response from Golden Boy, Oscar's first sentence is a frivolous lawsuit was filed recently alleging that Oscar De La Hoya sexually assaulted Jane Doe, which is completely false. First sentence after that, Oscar is a very successful businessman running one of the country's leading sports and entertainment companies.
False.
It's like, first off, false. That was a good one, Gary. It seems nasty, and Oscar has a long history of being nasty.
Part of their defense is that it's the same lawyer that's doing the DJ one as well.
Yes, that's part of their defense.
But that's not a defense, though. Like that's
no, I'm saying, and they're saying he's trying to make a name off. You know, he's the same lawyer for both cases, and he's trying to make a name off all this. But I don't know. Maybe he's got a case. Who knows? And maybe the DJ will be called because he perhaps had to go and retrieve Oscar from said the recent one. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. That's an allegation. That's me making shit up.
Rob, worried about getting sued.
Yeah, our lawyers ain't up there. I reckon we could get the same guy. Mixed Combat Radio takes down Golden Boy. It's that same lawyer, damn it. I'm on the real. As it stands, like Gary said, this is allegations. This has got to go to trial or whatever it's going to do. The facts or whatever have got to come out. So until then, I'll try and refrain from just making jokes.
I'll make this brief comment. I've always been of the mindset of like Occam's razor is usually true. Like whatever is the easiest answer is usually the right answer. Okay? Is it easier to believe that a guy with a decades-long substance abuse issue, a decades-long running in with the law issue, a guy that recently has issues with abuse of authority and power, let's say, is it easier to think that that guy then also sexually assaulted a woman? Or is it easier to think that that's all not really true and that this allegation is not true and it's all made up? I tend to think, Occam's razor. What's the easiest answer here? Probably the right answer. But digressing, obviously, there's a due process for it. And like I said, nasty ass Oscar De La Hoya. Allegedly.
Due process, yeah. Matt's,
allegedly.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but Occam's razor says when there are two scenarios, the easiest one is the most logical one. Yeah. Why would it be unreasonable to think that a woman's going after a rich guy first? And I'm not saying she is. I'm not making that claim at all.
Because that same rich guy that is being targeted is a guy that has
a history,
decades-long history of shit like, not necessarily exactly like this, but on a spectrum.
And there's other rich guys, right?
But do you see, like, Oscar's an obvious target because of his...
I don't know.
No,
well, my guess is there's a whole heap of rich guys that have substance issues that could be. Why is it Oscar De La Hoya? Is he like still?
Because now he's an easy target because of his history. Like, again, I'm not accusing anyone of making up any stories, and I'm not accusing anyone of sexual assault. I'm just saying,
statistically speaking, it's unlikely. It is. Gary, you can shake your head, but I have numbers on my side. Statistically speaking, it is very unlikely that a public allegation of sexual assault is untrue. It's very unlikely. Look up these numbers. They're easily verifiable. It's like less than like 5%. It's something extremely low. Okay.
Yeah, just say it ain't so, Oscar. Like I've always been an Oscar fan. I don't want it to be true. Like,
I understand that. I understand that point. But hey, most of the time, people are nasty. Okay, like
most people don't do that, Matt. Like I don't know the kind of people that you're hanging out with. I don't know anyone who did.
It's I don't know where you have been, Gary, but there's been like a huge cultural movement of hey, people in power have been sexually assaulting women for like ever.
Me too.
So there.
Wait, what?
You should probably rephrase how the timing of that was very bad, Gary.
You said you sexually assaulted.
Yeah, you should probably come out and say that's not what I meant. Because
I
or deny it. It's fine.
So I think the idea that like this is uncommon, no, it's actually quite common, and that's one part of the issue is that men in power who, on top of it, have substance issues, you abuse that power, especially against women and in a sexual manner. Igloo, it's quite easy. If it is easily verifiable, there's court cases. So there's a percentage of which ones are proven not true, which ones aren't. That's what you would do. Easily verifiable. Igloo. Again, look up these numbers. I don't have them on deck, but I've done this research before. You can do the research yourself, guys. Gary hopped off. What are you doing, Gary?
I think he froze up. It looked like he froze up for quite some time.
Does he not realize that this really fucks up the entire show? Because I have to like fix the cameras and everything.
Do you think he realizes that?
No, I know he doesn't realize that, guys.
Right, okay, so
it's really upsetting.
We'll be back. Don't worry. Here he comes.
I have to fix his audio and everything. Gary.
Is that better? I was breaking up like crazy.
I don't know, but don't do that again, please. Or at least give me a warning. Because I have to fix your camera.
I didn't do anything. It logged me out.
Oh, it lagged you out? Allegedly.
I didn't do anything. Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Sometimes, there's numbers behind this. I've never logged out.
Okay, here we go. Gary's back. We can keep going. Let's move on. Talking about the Wilder Ortiz pay-per-view card, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, does that have a 100% UK distributor? Like, is that confirmed?
Sports, yeah.
And it's not box office, right? It's not pay-per-view.
No.
I assume not, but I know the Fury one was, so just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't the Fury one pay-per-view?
Yeah, but it was like
it was Fury, obviously. I understand. Yeah, I understand. But I just again want to make sure I got the facts straight. Yeah. But the pay-per-view main card is 100% set. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz Jr. Obviously main event. Co-main event: Leo Santa Cruz.
Luis Ortiz Jr.
Did I say Luis Ortiz Jr.?
Oxymoron.
Did I say Luis Ortiz Jr.? I meant
Luis Ortiz Jr.
My bad. I don't know why I said that.
I'm up for that fight. Not fucking senior.
That's hilarious. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2. Leo Santa Cruz versus Miguel Flores. And then Brandon Figueroa versus Julio Ceja. And Luis Neri versus Emmanuel Rodriguez. Now, I'm going to go to Gary first because he's in the U.S. market. Gary, is this card enough to get your $75?
It is now because I love the undercard. The main event is kind of like, and the first fight was good enough. Like, there's no problem doing it again. I just feel like we know what's going to happen. Ortiz can't get on the inside, so eventually he'll get knocked out, and he'll probably get knocked out quicker this time. So the main event, the first fight was good. Ortiz had Wilder in a world of trouble, but like the first one wasn't worth $75. And I don't think the second one's going to be as good as the first one. But now the undercard is really good. So for me, at least, they've packaged it together where it's like, okay, this is a good night of boxing.
Okay, now we'll separate yourself for a second. Do you think is there enough in this card for this to either meet the Wilder Fury pay-per-view numbers or surpass it?
No.
Okay.
But 2 to 250, is that a win? Like, are they happy with that?
That's a win for Showtime.
Yeah. Well, it's not Showtime.
It's Fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think this does above 250. I'll be honest. I think we clearly saw like a basement level for Fox pay-per-view numbers with Spence Porter. Like that 275, 250 number is a basement number, it seems. And Wilder is a far bigger star than Earl Spence and Sean Porter. I think it does better. And plus, I know we're not going to see real promotion for this fight till the beginning of November. So it's hard to really get a gauge on the promotion for this fight yet. But I'm going to assume they're going to really ramp it up for Deontay Wilder on a Fox pay-per-view, just like they did, in a sense, for Earl Spence in the last 2 weeks of that fight and that promotional cycle. And I think 275 to 300 is absolutely doable. Anything above that, I think it will overachieve, if I'm being quite honest. But like Gary said, the undercard definitely solidifies me bitching about it, or me not bitching about it, I should say. Because Luis Neri, Emmanuel Rodriguez, and Figueroa Ceja, like those two fights alone make me happy just thinking about him. Like those are good fights. Those are fun fights, fun matchups that have meaning, importance to their respective divisions. Leo Santa Cruz, Miguel Flores means nothing to me. But at least I get Luis Neri, Emmanuel Rodriguez, and at least I get Figueroa potentially getting his big test. And I can't wait to see Gary respond to that, in my opinion.
Okay, first of all, Miguel Flores is a Texas fighter, so never count him out. 2, I don't think Rodriguez versus Neri is going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be the fight of the year. And I want to get your prediction on that, Matt, but I'm going to take Manny Rodriguez. I think there's too much firepower, and I think they're going to trade too much, and we're going to find out how good Rodriguez's power is.
We're definitely going to find out really how good Rodriguez is, period. Because I think there's still a bit of a question mark about him and where his rank is in this division. Because he came on with a really bare resume with a high knockout ratio. And, the Maloney fight, while it was a fun fight, was Andrew Maloney.
Yeah.
It's Andrew Maloney. That only means so much to me. If you go in there and beat Luis Nery, that means a lot. And vice versa. Let's say if Luis Nery comes out here and blows away Manuel Rodriguez, it's a great barometer for the Inoue fight. So this fight just has a lot of potential ramifications and importance for it in its division. I'm really excited for that fight, more so than anything.
Who's your pick?
I'm going to pick Nery, obviously. I think Nery's the better fighter. He's more established, better resume. Rob, we haven't gone to you yet. Thoughts on Wilder Ortiz and the undercard itself that is now official?
Yeah, I really like it. I think for people over there, that undercard has helped, but I don't know if it's helped the casual pay-per-view buyer. I don't think, this...
There's very little that would, though.
It's like a little mini hipster sort of hardcore undercard, really, which, although obviously for us, we're like, oh, wow, love that undercard, but I think the majority of people are like, never heard of these guys in a way. So if they're buying it, it's because of Wilder anyway, in my opinion, those sort of customers. So, but yeah, I really like it. I think that's a really good undercard. Nice to see some of these little guys getting some shine on these big cards, right?
Agree. And, obviously, like, the Nery Rodriguez fight is the hardcore fight to entice us. Brandon Figueroa is like the next potential lower weight class star for them. So there's a reason why he's attached to a Deontay Wilder card. I think Leo Santa Cruz is their attempt at sort of giving some depth for some casual audience. Because Leo has done good TV numbers, let's say. But this fight, I think, has zero real attention behind it. If this was Leo versus Gary Russell, it would be a different conversation in my mind. It would add, let's say, another 25,000 pay-per-view buys, another 50,000 pay-per-view buys. It would, in my opinion. That may not seem like a lot, but when it goes from 275 to 325, 350, that's a big jump. And I think a Leo versus somebody that matters to more of a casual boxing audience, not a casual sporting audience, a casual boxing audience, that would have helped the card, I think, in terms of its bottom line. But digressing, I think we're all sort of of the mindset, definitely adds a lot of depth to the card. Isn't going to increase overall bottom line in the pay-per-view sales. Most likely not, but then again, it would take a lot in terms of a matchup to do that on the undercard.
I wanted to ask you a question, Matt, right? Because if you buy the card and you're going to get a good night of boxing, but how many let's say it's 275 is the total number, right? Because I was saying 250, you're saying 300, so let's go with 275. Like, how many of those people do you actually think watched, like, the co-main and the undercard? And how many people do you think just turn it?
Well, obviously, like, it's not a direct, like, 275,000 pay-per-view buys equals 275,000 people watching, right?
But, like, give me a percentage of the people that watch it, that watch most or all of the
most or all, at least half. At
Okay.
least half, I would say. I would say more than half. I would say more than half. If you're buying the pay-per-view, if you're the one physically buying it, you're putting it on when it starts. Now, if you're having a pay-per-view party and you're having people come in and out, they may not be paying attention to it, but if you're the one physically buying it, you're watching every fight because you're buying it, in my opinion. You may not know all these guys, but you're definitely watching every fight.
Then it's good because you're going to get a good night of boxing. Now, there might be guys that you don't know if you're a casual fan, but you're going to get a good night of boxing that you're going to enjoy because there's going to be good fights on it.
Agreed. Moving on to some more news of the day. Chavez Jr. via Lance Pugmire is fighting Daniel Jacobs on December 20th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas on DAZN. And on top of it, I think Chris Mannix was reporting that Gabe Rosado is going to be on the undercard in case Chavez has any issues making weight or just having issues, period, it seems. So, guys, thoughts on this fight? I mean, like, it seems like it's 100% official. It's just like the location's the last thing that's a hold up. I feel like we've talked about this fight forever, to be honest. when it doesn't need to be this much of a drawn-out thing. Thoughts on Jacobs-Chavez in Vegas and overall just the amount of time we've taken in the last several months talking about this matchup? Has it hurt it? Has it helped it? Gary?
I think the fight, I mean, I have no interest in the fight. I think Chavez is basically a joke. But, like, it's going to sell. I mean, Chavez always does. He did 1 million pay-per-view buys with Canelo. I know most of that's Canelo, but it's the matchup. You know, like, Chavez is the son of a legend. And Jacobs, I think, is a pretty big star for what he is, right? So, I'm glad it's just, we're going to get the fight. Jacob blows him out, and let's move on.
Agreed. Rob, any thoughts? Jacobs-Chavez in Las Vegas?
No, not really. It's all right. I guess Jacob's going to a new division and whatever. I mean, look, there's more photos of Chavez looking in good shape with
Freddie Roach.
Freddie Roach. So I guess that's kind of a good sign, but yeah.
But he's not any good at boxing. Like, Mr. Universe is in good shape. He's not going to beat Tyson Fury. Like, he's not good at boxing.
All right. I'm just saying. I'd rather see that video than the weird one he posted earlier in camp when he looked fucking just ridiculous on the bag and then tried some press-ups and shit. But it seems to have been a little bit of a turn in I don't know, his intentions and his focus. So, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's not. I know Americans all flip out as soon as Chavez Jr.'s name's mentioned. I think you've obviously had your fingers burned one too many times. Look, when your own dad wishes Canelo was his son, then, you know, you haven't got much hope, have you? I don't know why he's still bothering with it. But no, whatever. And wasn't there talk of Estrada Yafai on the card?
Yeah, but we're gonna get to that in a bit. That's
okay. I didn't know if you got that one.
Yes, we have that topic coming up. That's no longer really a topic, but you know what I mean, Rob. We're gonna get to it.
It just made sense following on as we were on that card.
You're right. It should have probably been next, but I wasn't thinking that. I was
just picking them out as they came.
Anyways, moving on. This is next on the list. Get over it. It's one you should be happy about. Cecilia Braekhus signing a multi-fight deal with Matchroom Boxing. And on top of it, most likely fighting, let me get the name right, Victoria Bustos, because she has claimed that she is fighting Cecilia Braekhus to TYC Sports, which I believe is some, was that Polish? I think that's Polish, right? Is that the Polish flag? What's the red and white on the bottom? Is that Polish? Yes. Gary's saying yes. It's Polish outlet reporting that. And they're going to fight on the November 30th Monaco show. This is a little bit in direct contradiction of what I think we heard last week when we heard about Braekhus potentially fighting on the KSI Logan Paul card. It seemed like they've moved her to the Monaco card, which I think is a better card overall. It's her market and demographic more. It's the European market. She's European, fighting European. Put it in Europe. No sense putting it in the U.S. market under some YouTubers fighting. But I will say this. Victoria Bustos is a lightweight moving up to welterweight, and she had just lost to Kay Taylor. Clearly a showcase fight, in a sense, for Cecilia Braekhus as her first fight with Matchroom. Nothing to get too hyped on. But guys, thoughts on Braekhus signing with Matchroom, fighting November 30th in Monaco? Any thoughts?
No, she's good for women's boxing. I mean, I like it. I think Matchroom does better with women's boxing than other outlets, so I think it's good.
I absolutely agree with that. Especially the whole Matchroom does, I think, overall better with promoting women's boxing more than other promoters. Absolutely agree with that. That is true.
And then maybe she can fight Selena Barrios at some point in the near future.
Why do you want Selena Barrios to lose like that? Gary, don't worry about it. It was just a troll. Don't worry. Don't get high. See the blood pressure rising. The Italian in you. Rob.
No, we're obviously at some point as part of this. Is Katie Taylor part of this deal? You know.
Oh, you meant as in the Braekhus deal that Katie Taylor sort of, maybe not in writing in the deal, but at least a la Canelo Triple G with DAZN.
Or catch weight.
Yeah, the fight's going to happen. We guarantee you're going to fight this person if you sign with us. Yeah.
Did you say Amanda Serrano in that little spiel then?
I did not say Amanda Serrano.
Oh, okay. Like the Serrano thing.
No, I said like Canelo Triple G and DAZN. The whole promising a fight that may not materialize.
Yeah.
But
Serrano saying Katie Taylor needs me more than I need her. Anyway, but yeah, Braekhus, obviously, a good thing. She's got a big promotional company behind her now, and yeah, it's good.
And quickly, a European promotional company, which I think is smart because she is European. Don't go outside the box here, Braekhus.
Yeah. Tom Loeffler's still involved, like a advisor. So kind of broke this news a few weeks ago, didn't I? Something like that.
Did you?
Yeah, I only got one half of it wrong, that she's not on the KSI card, right?
I mean, it's a big part.
What, the sign into Matchroom?
I mean, I'm not saying it's the biggest part of the story, but it's definitely a big part of the story, yes.
Whatever.
Anyways.
Stay hating.
Circling back to that that rumored, not rumored, but the Jacobs-Chavez show or event. It was supposed to have Juan Estrada and Khalil Yaffe on it, but that got moved around. That got moved to Miami then, right, on the Tony Farmer Joseph Diaz card. Then it seems like that's not going to happen at all, as Estrada and Yaffe is not happening. As Estrada has explained, he wants to rest due to a slight hand issue. He'll return in either January or February, either against Yaffe and Cajas, or take the trilogy with Rungsvi. So now it seems like the Yaffe fight is not confirmed or official in any capacity.
That leaves Maloney possibly as his mandatory for Yaffe.
For which Maloney? And
the Maloney.
There's the other one. The other one. It's not Andrew. It'll be the other one.
Jason Maloney?
Jason Maloney. Thank you. Yes.
But did you see what I sent, Matt? If you want to look at what the co-main event would be, or rumored possibly to be on the Jacobs card, I just sent it just now.
Well, first let's talk about this, then we'll talk about that. Because I feel like you sending that and smiling because I'm going to get upset.
Yes, you're very, very upset.
I don't want to watch it or see it. But Estrada now maybe not fighting Yaffe. Is that a good thing? Do we want him to fight maybe in Cajas or Rungsvi in the trilogy before Yaffe? What do we want here for Estrada next, guys?
It's fine for Estrada, but Yaffe needed the Estrada fight.
Yes, he did.
In my opinion. So whatever Estrada wants to do, he's the unified champion, and the names you mentioned, they're all fine. But Yaffe needed a unification. He's been a long time world champion, long overdue having a big fight, and it looks like that's maybe not dead in the water, but maybe postponed and
at least heading that way.
Yeah. So,
Gary, what would you want Estrada to do next? And on top of that, like Rob, I think properly framed, also, what do you want Yaffe to do next? Because he's a guy that we've all wanted to face someone legitimate, an elite fighter for some time, and this was supposed to be his big fight, and he's not getting it.
Any one of those combinations of fights at 115 is a lot of fun. Like Ashton Palikte is available, and he's with Roy Jones, so he could fight on any card. What about that? Like, I know it's a consolation prize, but it's a good fight with a guy we've seen a few times on American TV.
Agreed. I like for Yaffe, I would love that.
Yeah,
that would make complete sense. It wouldn't be the legacy defining fight he's looking for, but it's definitely a legacy building fight at the very least. And that matters. Those are important. And I think, like Rob said, like Estrada is in a position where he can get a name out of a hat, and he can get the fight. He's the unified champ. He has Matchroom behind him. He has DAZN behind him in a way. He can literally get anyone he wants right now. Hell, you can probably even get Roman Gonzalez if he wanted to go beat him up in a rematch. Poor guy.
Or Charlie Edwards.
Why? Why do you want to see Charlie Edwards get like beat up, bro? Like why?
Like it's because it's a good fight. Like I think Estrada wins, but like all of a sudden Edwards sucks. Like what's your like?
No. It's not that Edwards sucks. Look, I think clearly Martinez had his number, right? I think that's how matchup like that was just wrong.
He had his soul. What are you on about? He had his soul. Shit.
not just a number. You're right, Rob. But for this division, that's not really what's calculating into my equation here. It's more of that it's a new division for him. So for Charlie Edwards to move up and then fight Estrada for the first fight up, no, I don't. That's automatic L. Like that's not how you enter a division. That's how you lose in a division. Especially coming off of that fight against Martinez, even though it was a no contest. So that's why I would say that. If Edwards fights at 115, who would be a good name? What's Nieves?
Josh Franco.
Ooh.
Nieves. Josh Franco.
You know, any of sort of like those guys, like fight those guys first and then fight the Estradas of the world. And you're going to be much better off, and I might think you could win. But right now, no. Estrada beats him, Ancajas beats him, Mafe beats him, Rungsviada beats him. Even like a faded Roman Gonzalez comes out of the fucking, wherever he's at and beats up Charlie Edwards right now at 115, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that Chocolatito is as shot as everyone thinks he is. I just think he's a little bit overrated, and that weight class is really, really good. Like he wasn't that much better than everyone like he was sold. I don't think he's like shot. I just think he was a little bit overhyped, and now he's in a really, really good division.
You are definitely right about one of those things. It's not the fact that, or it's not the incorrect thing that you said about him being overhyped. Roman Gonzalez was never overhyped. He was underhyped. But he is definitely not a shot, as some people claim. Digressing, though. It's a topic for another time. Let's get Rob, hold on. Let me jump to what you wanted me to talk about really fast. No. Hold on, just like talk for a second. I gotta get on the screen here. God damn it. Fuck you, Rob.
Do you want to announce it or shall I?
Hold on, let me get on the screen. Where the hell?
Let me get the dramatic music ready. Have you done it yet?
Hold on. It's loading, Rob. Okay. This is a process, by the way. Okay, it's not like it's just like poof, instant show production.
Why is there slow, sad music?
Lance Pugmire reporting. I'm told it's possible a Jake Paul fight could land on the co-main to Chavez Jr. Daniel Jacob December 20th or sometime in January. Stop it, computer.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah, that was me. God fucking damn it. Why?
Because it's in the next pay cycle.
The funniest fucking part is that, like, there's literally an article that came out yesterday from Eddie Hearn talking about, KSI Logan Paul is a one-off. I'm not into doing circus fights. Like, literal quote from Eddie Hearn. And you're going to sign up his brother for a fight on your co-main event.
Look, he's gradually moving the YouTubers off the card, all right? We've got a main event, then we're going co-main. Then there'll just be like undercard one. Then it'll be like the prelims YouTube or Facebook, and then no more.
Don't fucking lie to me, Eddie. Don't be out there in the media saying this is a one-off when you're literally matching up the dude's brother for the following month. You can't say that. I'm gonna call you out on it, Eddie. Next time I see you. I can't talk about this anymore. I will start yelling.
All it is the next monthly pay cycle subscription.
I don't care. This is shit.
Maybe someone else does.
I don't care. Hey, the people that care about Jake Paul fighting on the co-main event, I hope you guys get like sterilized. Okay, 'cause I'm assuming you're men. I'm assuming you're not women that are out there actually caring about Jake Paul fighting and boxing. So you 13-year-old dudes out there, please don't have children. Okay, like get kicked in the nuts super hard or something. Just don't procreate for the love of fucking God. Okay, I hope that for some reason you aren't allowed to have the internet anymore as well, and you just like become a hermit, and that's your punishment in society for liking Jake Paul and Logan Paul and the bullshit that they are. And on top of that, trying to put that bullshit on like us regular people, us like normal adults and shit. Don't put that on us, please, for the love of God. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Anything else I would say would have more profanity, so I don't want to do that because apparently Rob's kid listens to the show. But yes, please get sterilized for the love of God.
Okay, I'm better now.
Or at the very least, like we're throwing you in prison. Like that should be a law. Like if you like Jake Paul, that should be criminalized. Like I think if you do meth and steal, that should be less of a crime than liking Jake and Logan Paul. Robbie muted, by the way. I don't know what snarky comment you had right there. What was it?
Oh my God, you're so hyperbolic. You'd sooner have a meth addict hanging around your boy than a Jake Paul support.
Absolutely.
You're a fucking shit dad. Oh my God. Crazy time.
I have an uncle that's a meth addict, man. Like, I don't care. Like, who cares? They're part of the family. But Logan and Jake Paul fans, no. You guys are excommunicated from my family.
Jeez. But no.
Rob, the feelings you have about pro wrestling, add that, but like times like affinity, and that's my thoughts on YouTubers boxing.
You're YouTubers boxing.
No, I'm not.
You're a YouTuber
who talks about boxing.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Anyway, look, like I said, this is to keep the millions and millions and millions of new boxing fans around for another year. Another month. That's all it is. Relax. When we've suddenly got 100 million subscribers and we're getting crazy sponsorship, super chats and stuff like that.
AT&T cannot sponsor the program.
We know. We've seen tonight. I'm just saying. Because of these new, they all know what YouTube is, Matt. They're going to find us. And now all they're going to find is you being a misery guts about it all. They're coming here looking for all their boxing content. And you're just shitting all over it.
You disrespect boxing, you piece of shit!
To all of you Logan and Jake Paul fans out there. Moving on. Where were we at? Anything else that you put in the 101 that's like really important? I see the update for the Rivas story, so I mentioned that. Don't worry.
Okay. What else did I send?
Because we already have something about Rivas, but that's just an update to the story.
Okay.
The Bernard Hopkins one. What's that? Hold on. No, I'm not talking about that at all. No.
All right. I'm just sending it.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins fighting again. Like, no one needs to talk about that. We're good. Stop. Just you two old men, please stop right now. Why aren't your grandchildren telling you to stop?
Also, just quickly, Michael Hunter has tweeted the Saudi flag, so I think that's an indication that the Povetkin's fight is done.
You're probably right about that. Moving on. Oh, perfect. Just mentioned that. Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas was, before we get to this update in the news, was offered a co-promotional deal with Top Rank and also Eddie Hearn via the Boxing Voice, which I believe, like, they're down, the WBC convention?
Nez is there,
yeah. I would assume Rivas is there as well, and that's where this conversation happened. And the Boxing Voice said that Rivas is going to be on the AJ Ruiz undercard, which would mean he's signing with Eddie Hearn, I would assume, right? I mean, that would be the assumption. I don't know if that's the case yet, but that's what the reporting is right now. Take that for what it is. Guys, thoughts on Oscar Rivas signing with Eddie Hearn, potentially or allegedly, and also just fielding offers from other suitors?
I mean, I kind of thought he was, even though I think he's with Al, and I thought he had fights on ESPN anyway. So I thought he was kind of a top ranked guy, but I know on his Twitter it's like, and he's got like PBC or Premier Boxing Champions or whatever. So I just thought he's an Al Heyman guy that's over on thing. But interesting. I mean, I thought he made a good fight with Dylan White. I thought, and obviously we saw the who was it, Jennings?
Yep.
The Jennings fight. He got that late. Obviously carries power late and caught Jennings in a good fight, a good knockout. So yeah, he's a good heavyweight. And I think trying to put one-on-one together and making whatever, but he might be getting, if he's on the Joshua card, it might be that he's facing Hrgovic.
No, Hrgovic facing Eric Molina last time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Or
unless Molina's had issues again.
Hold on. What up? What about a little remix here, right? Because Mike Hunter, like you said, put out Saudi flags instead of Hunter Povetkin, Hunter Rivas, which is.
No, I mean, Eddie was saying he basically confirmed that it was all but a done deal with Povetkin. So
I kind of like Hunter Rivas more. Damn.
We're supposed to. I don't want to repeat everything, but we're getting all the undercard this week is going to be announced this week.
It's going to be interesting to have that many heavyweight fights on one card, right? Because you have AJ Ruiz, Felipe Hrgovic, Eric Molina, allegedly Michael Hunter, Alexander Povetkin, and on top of that, Oscar Rivas versus TBA. You know, it seems like it's just a heavyweight loaded card, which, I mean, it's either going to be really fun or really bad. That's usually heavyweight boxing, right? Moving on, guys.
But interestingly, though, you know, with all the Dillian White stuff and the gloves and everything.
You think they just run it back?
No. I'm saying that he decided, I might sign with Eddie Hearn if that's the case.
I didn't understand the framing of that. I thought you meant like, oh, maybe White Rivas too, and they just run it back. And I'm like, that'd be
fight coming soon. There was, although Eddie did say Dillian White possibly end up on an undercard in America. So maybe Jake Paul's fighting Dillian White. Who knows? Then that would be good, right, Matt?
No,
it wouldn't.
Stop.
Wouldn't you want to see Dillian White smash Jake Paul to bits? You just told everybody how
by a guy that was not a victim. That sounds like he got the bad end of the stick, but definitely got the benefit of a faulty system. Nah, I don't see. Oh, nah, I'm good. That's all around just bad. Dylan White's in the mix. I'm on him right now. And then you have Jake Paul. Rob, you want me to be angry more? What are you doing to me?
Yeah, I'm going to bed soon. It'd be fun knowing that you've got the rest.
Yeah,
of
me all triggered up all day thinking about Dylan White and Jake Paul.
You and Gary going back and forth. Oh my
god. Moving on. Wait, Gary, I forgot. Did you mention anything about Rivas? I don't know if I got your opinion.
We can move on. Bad heavyweight boxing is not my favorite topic.
I agree with you entirely on that, Gary. Jesse Hart versus Joe Smith Jr. possible per 3kingsboxing.com. Take that for what it is.
That has been also Bob Arum has told people that as well.
Yeah, but it's Bob Arum. And take that for what it is. You know?
I want smoke.
That's not what I meant to hit.
Are you off your tits?
That's what I meant
Have
to
you
hit.
been smoking something?
Too much smoke.
Tell him, Bob, you want smoke. Could get you, what you want.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. But anyways, Hart, Joe Smith Jr., possible per Bob Arum, allegedly. Gary, I know you have always been a kind of a closet fan of Joe Smith Jr., right? And
yeah,
and I will admit I've always sort of been a fan of Jesse Hart. So thoughts on this matchup?
Make this fight. It's a great fight for Hart at 175. Joe Smith can keep himself relevant with a win here. I mean, Joe Smith's not going to beat any of the champs at 175, but he's fun to watch. So if he gets the win over Hart, he could get another title shot. So keep yourself relevant, and if Hart wins, it's a good look for Hart because
it's Joe Smith. Jr.
Yeah, it's Joe Smith Jr. So make the fight. I like the fight. It's a fun fight. So let's see it.
I agree. I definitely think it's a fun fight. I do think that Joe Smith Jr. is probably the favorite as well. At least he should be. Rob, your thoughts on this matchup?
I think the winner of this fight is definitely to be considered as a top 15 light heavyweight.
Well, first off, Joe Smith Jr. is already a top 10 light heavyweight.
He is?
I would say
10-ish.
10-ish, yeah.
He's around 10, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, I'll put it this way. Like, who do you pick in a fight? Joe Smith or John Pascal?
Joe Smith Jr.
Because those guys are like that 10 or 9 or like 10 and 11 in the division, right?
Yeah.
But digressing from that.
I don't know. But it's okay. Yeah, it's good. These other guys have got to fight someone, right? So can't just be unifications and stuff. That's decent enough. I've just never been that big on Jesse Hart, to be honest.
I know. Hater. Speaking of the light heavyweight division, Eloy Alvarez back in action against Michael Seals, both in advanced talks for a January 18th fight. Seals obviously picked up a big KO win, or at least a good-looking KO win. It wasn't really against anyone of note, but at least picking up a nice, flashy KO gets him in line against a guy of a former champion status like Eloy Alvarez, who's looking for sort of a tune-up, who Michael Seals sort of probably fits that definition. Thoughts on this matchup, guys? Eloy Alvarez, is he on the comeback road to a Kovalev trilogy fight? Vajdik, Beterbiev, Bivol. Can Alvarez turn the corner back to those guys? Guys, any thoughts? Gary?
I don't think it'll be Canelo because I think, well, I don't want to get into that, but I don't think it'll be Canelo, but I do think Alvarez is back on track to get another title shot with a win and then potentially another win. I think within 12 months, he'll be getting another title shot.
I probably agree with you on that. I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, because I think this is going to be an ESPN fight. Because he has the lowered deal. He doesn't have the big mega deal with ESPN. He has a lowered version of it. But I would assume that a Alvarez and Vajdik fight is being talked about at some point, right? I would assume the matchmaker is saying, hey, when can we make that fight? So the winner of that fight can then go and fight Beterbiev and Bivol. And that's probably what is going to be the next matchup that's down the line for them. And then the winner of that goes and fights the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. And like you said, Canelo, Kovalev. If Canelo wins that fight, God knows what's going to happen with that belt. And if Kovalev wins, he might just retire, for God's sake. Let's be honest. Moving on, though. Rob, sorry I didn't get your thoughts. Alvarez, Seals, any thoughts?
No, it'd be good to see Alvarez, get back on the trail. Not that I'm saying he, breezes past Seals, but you'd expect him to come away with that one. But Alvarez, I remember when he got the title and he was paraded in his hometown and welcomed off the plane and everything real big. So I know he then went on to lose to Kovalev, but yeah, it'd be good to see him back and doing his thing.
Moving on, sort of stitching back to that, Beterbiev Vajdik card, it did a decent number on TV as the numbers have come out. It averaged 635,000 viewers on Friday night, and it did a peak of 778,000 viewers in its initial live telecast. I mean, those are all right numbers. They're kind of where I think all of us expected them to be, right, guys? Like, we didn't expect this to do over 1 million on ESPN, and we didn't expect it to sort of bottom out in any way. We expected the hardcore fans of boxing to sort of support it enough. I am curious, though, if this is any, long-term, are ESPN looking at these numbers and saying, what are we doing? Like, what is our investment really into Top Rank, and what are we getting out of it? Because this whole year has been pretty on par with this in terms of just mediocre numbers. Guys, any thoughts on the television viewership of Beterbiev Vajdic?
Not really. I mean, it was a fight for the hardcores, and that's who watched it. You just wish that more casuals would have watched it because it was a great fight. It would have turned them on to boxing because it was a good fight, but they didn't watch it. So,
agreed. Rob?
Yeah, same really. Yeah, it was just not really, people leading into it were watching ESPN and then like, well, what's this? Who, Better Beef? And because yeah, fuck that. You know what I mean? If you don't know, you don't know, and you're probably not going to tune in. So it's decent enough. It's what is it like? Showtime Mikey Garcia numbers or something, right? Or something similar.
Yeah,
or
that's more in there. Yeah. So
for two guys that aren't particularly, I think a couple they speak a little bit of English, but very. So and it wasn't really pushed massively. I think they knew it wasn't going to do that good anyway, no matter what they did, probably. But
Marcus Bennett asking who's performing better on ESPN, UFC, or Top Rank. Well, it's UFC. UFC is a multi-billion with the B company, and Top Rank is maybe a multi-$100 million company, right? Like maybe. Like there's no billion-dollar promotional company in boxing. Just does not exist. There's billion-dollar networks, like DAZN, right? It's a billion-dollar network or streaming service, but Matchroom is a billion-dollar company. Like that just is not the case. They might be the closest, but even then, unlikely. And a big part of that is because the fighter contracts aren't solid. So that hurts the value of boxing promotional companies comparative to MMA promotional companies, which have long-term contracts with fighters. Digressing, though, last topic of the day, and then we're going to get out of here, kind of a minor topic, but one that I have a little tiny mini rant about. UCAD have just today announced that Ivaka Bakurin has been banned for boxing for 4 years because he tested positive for multiple banned substances after his fight with Joe Joyce on June 15th, 2018. The entire process took 16 months and was completely confidential until now. Look, I have real issues with this system and how it's run in the UK. I've always been of the mindset that more transparency when it comes to regulation is how you have good regulation. If you have non-transparent regulation, that's where you get corruption at, most likely. I'm not saying that this is a case of corruption because obviously they banned him, right? But this process should not be confidential, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Like I know, like there was an argument, especially in the UFC. This happened for a period of time, where the argument was, well, the fighters should have some confidentiality to their medical documents in a sense, right? That if the due process has not happened yet, that to put this information out to the public could be damaging to fighters' brands and reputation when the information is not official yet and the due process has not happened yet, right? However, again, when we're talking about regulation and bureaucracy, I want that to be transparent and as transparent as possible, because otherwise you get issues, a la the Dylan White case, where some of the information was leaked out to the public and some of it wasn't. And then you have a bunch of contradicting reports, contradicting information, lack of information, and that creates actual more issues. So in a perfect world, cases like this where like it's completely confidential, the due process happens, and then we can make our opinion with a real concrete information around it. That's nice, but we don't live in that world. In the world where information is leaked, I'd rather have information just be transparent, because then we don't have to deal with that process, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this topic. In a sense, I really don't know who Ivaka Bakurin is, and they're banned for 4 years, so is what it is. Guys, any thoughts?
I leave the UCAD and the VADA and the USADA and the WADA stuff to Matt. That's Matt kills it on that stuff.
Well, I've sent him a little piece on it so he can do a little bit more delving into it with the.
Oh god, that's so tiny. Oh my gosh.
Well, there's a zoom function.
Oh, where are you getting this from?
This is the. Where did it come from? Let me see. It's from Boxing Squared, which is a guy that is massively follows the heavy.
I know Boxing Squares. Yeah, I know Boxing Squares. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's.
Send me a link for this. I'll talk about it obviously later if it's important enough. I'm not going to read that all right now.
Oh no! I didn't mean to crack into it now, but yeah, no, the whole process. I don't know. It's yeah, the whole Dillian White thing has shown what a shitty setup it is. I get sort of sometimes when there's the stuff's kept, behind closed doors until it maybe needs to be, but I think, I don't know, it should be more accessible and they should be more transparent and, come forward with information a lot more easily than it is. And it just needs a good sit down and reform and talking with promoters, the commission and everything like that, the British Boxing Board of Control, because they've come under fire from it as well, but they use UCAD, so they also fall under the whole it's private matter and confidential, but I think they've felt the the anger and the wrath of people regarding the Dillian White thing, and I think they're definitely open to needing to sit down and talk about it and get things ironed out and sort the situation out. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sounds like the guy was juiced up to the gills by the Molotov.
Quickly, Weed Degree saying better than any American agency though. LOL. At least they get tested in the UK. First off, you apparently weren't listening or aware of anything in boxing post Dillian White. When how many UK prominent boxers came out and said, "Yeah, I've barely been tested." Anthony Fowler, O'Coley, Warrington, like the gambit of high-level guys even came out and said, "Yeah, we really aren't tested that much." So no, that's not true. That just because you're in UCAD does not mean you're automatically tested. The benefit of UCAD versus the U.S. system is that it is a uniform system. There's one agency, right? You have the BBOFC and you have obviously UCAD in tandem. In the U.S., you have 47 athletic commissions, and there's I think 3 states that have none. You have, but there's states that literally there's no population, so no one fights there. It's like Idaho and shit like that. No one cares. Sorry, Idahoians or however you're called.
From what I can make out, Texas don't have much of one.
They don't have much of one either. That is definitely true. But but saying because again, to compare UCAD specifically with let's say a Nevada State Athletic Commission isn't a 1-to-1 analog. You have to compare UCAD with VADA and USADA, and they're all comparable, to be honest. Now, on top of it, UCAD's non-transparency comparative to VADA and USADA is a deep issue, significant issue. The idea that UCAD is better than VADA and USADA is just not true. And the claims that you're making in the chat are not true at all either. So I don't even know where you're getting these claims at. UK fighters themselves are not backing up your claims out there, Weed Degree. Maybe do some more research. But guys, that'll be it for today. We're going to be back. Most likely not tomorrow. Most likely probably Thursday or Friday. Because tomorrow I'm going to edit all the shows and everything like that. Post it all up. Anyways, find me and Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hope you guys enjoy the fights coming up this weekend. Don't worry, we're going to have live fight chats. All that fun stuff on Saturday as well. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms on social media. The like button, share the show, subscribe. Fred in the chat saying, "You're wrong, Matt." No, I'm not wrong. Sorry. Not wrong. Your own fighters are saying this. Guys, I'm not the one saying it. Anthony Fowler is. Josh Warrington is. Carl Frampton is. Lawrence O'Coley is. I think even David Hay talked about this a little bit. Tony Bellew talked about it a little bit. It's not me. It's the fighters. They have come out and criticized UCAD. So I'm not wrong. You guys are. Maybe you guys should be listening to the fighters more often. It's okay. Like I said, find me Mount Hunter MStar all platforms. Gary, Rob, final thoughts so people know where to find you.
Find me in all forms of social media at 3D Boxing. I'm going to be in Reno this weekend for that Kendo Castaneda fight on UFC Fight Pass. So I'll see you guys back. I'll be back on Saturday. Rob?
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit that thumbs up, share the show, click that notifications bell. If you haven't seen it yet, the first episode of 40 Days for Canelo Kovalev on DAZN is there. It's also on the YouTube channel for obviously if anyone in the UK that wants to watch it. It's pretty good. It's just a short, I think like 10 minutes. Obviously, I don't know, episode 2 will follow maybe each fighter a little bit more in camp or whatever, but it's just an initial thing. Get to hear Canelo speaking a little bit of English.
Who produced this one?
Uninterrupted, the LeBron and the other guy.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, it's decent. But so go check that out if you're in for that fight and like seeing some extra stuff or whatever behind the scenes or whatever. So yeah, it's good. Catch you on the next one.
Quickly, no, I have to sort of comment on this. Reed agrees, saying you're talking fighters, not agencies. Not my point. Look, the fighters are talking about the agencies. What on their rules and regulations on UCAD is different than USADA and VADA? What do they test for that's different? How they test that's different? There's nothing. In terms of the amount of random testing, in terms of per capita, in terms of percentage and ratio, it's around the same actually. And on top of it, I can go to USADA's website right now, guys, and I can see how many times each fighter in the UFC has been tested, how many athletes in USADA period have been tested, when they've been tested, how many times they've been tested in which month, which year. I can check all that information, and that's public information. UCAD and British Boxing Board of Control do not have that amount of transparency. They don't give you that amount of information. Do not compare the two. Please, you do your research before I have to do mine. Because guess what? I've already done it. Read, agree. I've already done the research. You're welcome. Go do yours. Have a great day. Peace.